Good evening, Michelle. This is Chris Sofield with bucksPAC.com. Thank you for joining us
Very
tonight.
nice. I couldn't miss it.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to this.
Michelle, if I remember correctly, you were the photographer?
Yes.
Very nice to have you on our call tonight.
I wish I'd been able to attend a lot of those, but I just got stuck in health problems. But I'm back.
Yeah. You sound like you're feeling much better.
Some bad times, but now I'm good.
Fantastic. Medical care helps and prayer helps also.
That too. Just watching the elections and everything, it's just tearing my heart out.
Yes, it does. So this is bucksPAC.com. We do have some other people joining us as we speak.
Fran Howler.
Good evening, Fran.
Oh, good evening, Chris. How are you?
Fran, I am doing better than I deserve.
So who else is on the line?
Right now, just a few of us. And we'll give about one more minute, and then we will start tonight's meeting.
Who's the host?
Chris Sofield from bucksPAC.com.
Oh, you are? Oh,
yes,
great.
I am. Thank you very much. We do have some events coming up in January. We'll have some special events and guest speakers. So this is bucksPAC.com. We do these conferences every 2 weeks, Monday evening, 7 p.m. So feel free to please invite your friends and family and good Republicans and even not so good Republicans, and maybe it'll come around, become good Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
We would love them to join up with bucksPAC.com, get the word out.
Yeah. Did you happen to watch Mark Levin last night? Because he had these two guys that are specialists in things I never heard of, and for the whole evening they were explaining that Trump could possibly lose and he could possibly win. But I couldn't understand anything they were saying. It was like another world.
There are a lot of interesting things going on that a lot of smart people are working on. And we will pray for the people that they can make things happen the way they should happen or the way that God wishes them to happen. And we will also work our hardest here in Bucks County to make things happen here on the ground, the grassroots efforts to make this county conservative again.
I sure have no idea whether my vote ever got there.
Oh, you mailed yours in?
No, I did it. I was 4.5 hours waiting to get to vote.
Oh, yeah, I voted in person also.
Yeah, so it just still makes you wonder if it ever changed.
I know.
Barbara Sudell.
Jimmy Clinton.
Thank you to all my friends joining us tonight. This is Chris Sofield. This is bucksPAC.com. We have a conference every 2 weeks, Monday night, 7 p.m. I thank everybody who's joined us so far. Hopefully we have everybody in attendance. But everybody's welcome to join in at some point. Just if you do wish to speak, announce yourself, state your piece, ask your question, and when you're finished, just say over. Then the person who the question is directed to could answer. And that will hopefully make it so we're not talking on top of it. But this is bucksPAC. We have this conference call every 2 weeks. This is to provide a forum for our friends to speak about conservative issues, to work the ground, and get the grassroots efforts to get conservatives in political office, and to paraphrase Sean Hannity when he says, we have a country to save. What we have is a county to save. We have the 1st Congressional District in Pennsylvania, which is Bucks County, and a sliver of McCutcheon County, which is an issue that we need to work on. Conservatives who are running for office, conservatives who are in office will actually have to find and actually do the correct things. So it's just some of the stuff we need to work on as friends and as conservatives working here in Bucks County and working through our channel of bucksPAC.com, which is an indispensable resource for people in Bucks County with information to get people to attend various events, whether it's Republicans, conservatives, people that wish to save the county. Feel free to send me information at contact@bucksPAC.com. If you have any calendar events you run across, send them to us. And then this way we will put it on that calendar so that resource is available to everybody. The conference calls every 2 weeks are a great resource to invite friends so they feel they have a voice here in Bucks County and in Montgomery County to speak up for conservative values. We looking for donate. We would love you to donate so we can keep that website going. It does take a lot of work to keep that website going, to keep our FitzWatch page going, which is now at 124 pages long of various things that Brian Fitzpatrick has endorsed, has said, and has gone against conservative values so often that it has created a book of 124 pages of reference link to reputable newspapers, television sites, websites, radio programs of Brian Fitzpatrick not being the conservative that we need here in Bucks County. It is December 7th, 79 years ago, the Japanese attacked Harbor. This is a day that will live in infamy unless you go to school or watch the mainstream media, who probably will not mention Pearl Harbor at all today, and will not even discuss, what happened that day to propel us into World War II. Even though FDR said it was a day that will live in infamy, it's going to fall short of that this year. But it's up to us to bring it back. Next year will be 80 years, and I think if we could get in front of our school boards and get in front of our political leaders to actually live up to what FDR said, and this would be a day to live in infamy. In 2020, we have an election that will live in infamy. And it is something we do not have results yet. They are still playing with the ballots. They are still trying to figure out how bad they messed it up and how there's any way that it can be solved. It is going to go to the Supreme Court. The one problem we have with that is I don't think our Supreme Court has the will to overturn an election, even though it most probably needs to be. We appreciate everybody being here tonight, and I'm going to open this up. Okay, so Michelle, please join us.
The Supreme Court, how could they be so, it's so obvious that there's this fraud, big fraud, and I'm worried about the Chief Justice, who always seems to get on the wrong side.
Michelle, that is a very valid point. Who you're talking about, the Chief Justice, would be John Roberts. John Roberts was an appointee of George Bush. George Bush being of the family of really the Republicans in name only, proven to be a big disappointment as a president. And his Supreme Court nominees are showing how spineless they are when it comes to Obamacare, when it comes to pretty much anything that seems to be common sense and should be a pretty logical vote. John Roberts has been siding with the progressive liberal end of the Supreme Court justices. We should be looking at a 6-3 advantage when it comes to our Supreme Court, but it has turned into a 5-4 advantage because John Roberts sides with the three progressives. That is where we're at that moment with our Supreme Court over.
Right. It doesn't have to go to the Supreme Court. I thought if neither one concedes, and neither one wins, as long as Pennsylvania allows us to overturn it, and Michigan and the other states allow it to be overturned, saying, hey, wait a minute, there was fraud here, because there is significant fraud. Then it has to go, if neither one concedes, then it goes to each state gets one vote.
Yes,
and most of the states are Republican, and then they vote, and Trump can win that way, too. He doesn't have to have the 270 electoral votes. If neither one of them have that, and they need to overturn that, then it's just the 50 states. Everybody gets one vote. There are more Republican states, more red states, or so they say. I'm beginning to wonder if any of them are red. But then if he wins that, then he keeps the presidency. It does not have to go to the Supreme Court.
I was reading, I'm looking at it right now. It's from text originally from Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General. And she was saying if it goes to the Supreme Court, either they'll rule that the mail-in ballots were unconstitutional and they have to be removed, I guess the ones that specifically Pennsylvania that came in after November 3rd, or they'll simply rule the election is invalid due to mass voter fraud and that it will be sent to Congress and the Senate for a vote. And like you said, each state gets to vote, and there's more Republicans than states are held by Republicans than. Okay, guys, I got to go. My Christmas tree just fell over.
Oh, no.
Yes, okay. Oh, well, it's good talking to you, but bye-bye.
Okay. I think that was Fran. So it's a shame that Fran just had her Christmas tree get knocked down by the cat. But I have 3 cats, so I understand that that's quite a possibility.
She needs somebody to help her put up her tree properly.
We will blame David for that. Dave is he's a construction manager. He should know how to do that.
He definitely should know how to do that. Maybe the kids put it up or something.
We've talked about December 7th. That will live in infamy. We've talked about the 2020 election, which is an election that will live in infamy. And we did just have Jimmy just join us again, so sorry about that, Jimmy. Jimmy, we had a little bit of discussion about where we're at with the 2020 election, and where we're at with that is everything needs to go to court. That is where we're at, and at this moment, most of the state Supreme Courts have been turning down any of Trump's lawsuits, which are going to force them to go up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Even with John Roberts on that seat, we will be prayerfully hoping that Amy will be that 5th vote over. And if things get overturned in the courts, things will get very ugly, because I know the resist movement will not be very happy about a court overturning the way they did the election. So we definitely are in that battle when it comes to that. We the other discussion was concerning, does it really have to go to the U.S. Supreme Court? Could it just go to Congress? And in the Congress, if they follow the Constitution, and that's a big problem. Our Congress doesn't follow the Constitution. Our state doesn't follow their constitutions. So it is a huge problem we have. But if they do follow the Constitution, it gets put into a ballot situation where each state gets one vote. And yes, we do have a majority of Republican-held states. And states like Georgia, that's a Republican-held state, but their governor, their congressional team are not having a great way of doing things, since they allowed the certification to go through without fighting it as hard as they should. Something I posted the other day was, if you're going to put all bad information in, it doesn't matter how many times you have a recount. If you have bad information, you're going to have a bad result.
Exactly. Right.
And that's where we're at with these elections. That they can recount till the cows come home, and you're going to have a bad result. What we need to have these illegal mail-in ballots thrown out. And a lot of them weren't even mailed in. A lot of them were put into drop boxes. Philadelphia had lots of these drop boxes, Zuckerberg.
Bucks County, too.
Yes. So Bucks County, we had 3. So they were policed a little bit better in that fact. And, so that was a true drop box. In Philadelphia, not only did they have drop box, but they had set up storefront election help rooms where they would have city employees help people fill out their ballots. Well, obviously, in the city of Philadelphia, they're only going to help Democrats get circled in on those ballots. They're not going to help any Republicans get circled in. And none of those go through the mail. They just get into a drop box. So how many hundreds of thousands of votes were processed through just in that manner? And they're not looking at that. They're not taking any of them out. And that kind of brings us back to Judge Alito, who said anything that came in after 8 p.m. on Election Day needs to be segregated and looked further into. These steps are just not being done in Pennsylvania. So that is where the battle continues. It continues here in Pennsylvania. Jimmy, you mentioned it continues here in Bucks County. And that's why we have bucksPAC.com. That's why we continue this battle, because it is so very important that our state legislators look into this. Right now we have state legislators who in Bucks County came up very short on this. They sent out a letter. This letter was sent to our governor and sent to our congresspeople and sent to our senators, a letter for the 2020 election review, but it just concerns the Pennsylvania election code and how it was incorrectly voted on, incorrectly processed through. This is Act 77 of 2019, and how allowing these absentee and mail-in ballots to be counted just was not correct to the Pennsylvania Constitution. And this letter to our governor and our elected representatives in Congress and in the Senate was signed by our state senators in Harrisburg, our state representatives in Harrisburg. Well, we had about 60 of them, and what they asked for in this is they urged the governor to object and to vote to sustain any objection to the Electoral College votes received from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania during the joint session of Congress on January 6, 2021. That is what our representatives should be fighting for as Republicans against the Democratic governor and against the spineless Republicans in Harrisburg who allowed Act 77 to allow this mess to go on. Here in Bucks County, we only had one state representative sign on to this letter. We had, I'm aware of at least 5 of our state representatives did not sign. Frank Ferry, who was my state representative, didn't sign, didn't even acknowledge that this letter was put together. He's completely spineless when it comes to the integrity of our vote here in Bucks County and in Pennsylvania. But we also had 4 of the state representatives who their name and signature ended up on this letter, but then they quickly said it was a clerical mistake and their name was not supposed to be on there. And I wish I had that list in front of me. I am aware of Todd Polachek being one of the people, Casey Thomason being another person, Wendy Thomas, I believe her name was on there, and there was a 4th person, and they all ran out there to say, oh, no, we did not want our name on this letter to object to the certification, which made them look very foolish. First off, they're not representing the Republicans in the party, but they also look foolish in front of the Democrats. So even if they think they're winning over a purple county, they look foolish to Republicans and Democrats because they are all showing they have no spine. when it comes to standing up for the integrity of the election here in Pennsylvania.
But they do have spine. They do have a spine, but they want their power. They want government to have more power, and that's why they all have F scores. Most of them. Wendy Thomas, since she's been in like 3 or 4 years, and every year she gets an F score because she votes for government control and government power. The more you vote for people power and the people to make the decision, the higher your score goes. And, it's based on what bills you're trying to pass. It's based on what bills she's voting for and how she votes. So, I would know that most of them are Democrats. Most of them want government control. And that's the problem. And that's why you say, bucksPAC has to get together and get rid of these people and has us to find people that really want to get in there and do the job. They want to do what's best for our country. And that's how they vote. They vote for less and less bills, less and less government control and things like that. And until we get people like that, 90% of even the ones that are in the federal government, 90% of the Republicans have F scores or vote mostly F, vote mostly with the Democrats. So that is why we're losing our country, and we have to find a solution to it, and we have to find it fast. And right now, we have to fight for Trump because he's the only one fighting for the people. No, none of the other ones have fought for the people, and they all think he's an idiot. That's why they want him out, because he wants the people to do well. He wants our country. He wants our Constitution. So that's why it's such a mess. And we got to figure out how to make them decertify the certification that they put through and say we're not tolerating this. I just. And we're fighting so many of them. How do you do it,
Yes. So, Barbara, that's a great point. Barbara, I have one question for you. This is Chris. One question for you is, when you say they're getting an F rating, what source is that from? Is that from the Heritage Group?
CAP.
Or
it's CAP. We have 2 scores. One is from the Heritage Group, and they do the federal government. But CAP, Citizens Alliance of Pennsylvania, they do a score too. And actually, I have one on my computer that I can send to you. And you can click on it, and you can look them up, and you can see the bills that they vote for and how they voted and what their score is. So I had talked to him too before they even had it. And I said, I told him to go to the Liberty Score, and I said, it's great. I said, we need a report card on these guys. And I said, we need to make everybody go to it. Everybody who votes has to look at these report cards once a month to see what these people are voting for. And we have to start holding them accountable and saying, we're not having this. And we don't want any more career politicians. Look, you get in there, you do a good job, you have a goal in mind of what you want to accomplish, you do it, and you get back out and go back to your job. But I can send that to you if you want, Chris, so you can look at it.
Barbara, thank you very much. Send that to contact@bucksPAC.com.
Okay.
And we will make use of that resource and provide that resource for people. So you'll be able to tell people, if you're looking for the resource, just go into bucksPAC.com, and we will make sure we link it into our resource list. So,
and then I'll find the one for the federal one, and that's what I put. I put state report. I put report card state, report card federal. So they can just go right to the report card and look at look up their person, and then you click on the person's name, and then you see how they voted. So it's first you see their score, and then you see how they voted, and you go, oh, dear God in heaven, how could they vote for these things? But somebody else is paying the bill. They think somebody else is paying the bill. Really, when it comes to paying the bills, we the people pay all the bills. But they look at somebody else being in power, and it isn't us. They don't think it's us, and so they don't care about us. I don't care whether it's the state or whether it's the federal government, they don't care about us.
Barbara, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much, and thank you very much for bringing that information to us and sending us the link to contact at bucksPAC.com.
Okay.
So that would be the site for everybody to go on to and check out, how we have that set up with bucksPAC.com. Like I said, we have the calendar. We keep polls on there. Also, we poll people on certain issues on whether Trump will concede or whether he will continue to fight. But we also put polls together concerning Republican values. So check that out and have your friends fill out the polls so we know what the pulse of the Bucks County area is when it comes to conservative values. And we definitely want more people invited to our conference calls every other Monday night. I'll just talk about some of our next conference calls that are coming up. In 2 weeks, we will have a conference call, and that will be the week of Christmas. So we will try to keep it a little bit fun, but I am sure there will be plenty of politics to talk about that on that conference call in 2 weeks. So that's December 21st, Monday night at 7 p.m. And 2 weeks after that, we will have a conference call on Monday, January 4th, 2021. Filling out 2021. I know when I type 2020, it's so very easy. 2021 is going to be a little bit tricky with my fingers, but that also is at 7 p.m., Monday, January 4th, and that'll be a new year with new promises. A lot of people will be taking off the next few weeks and maybe decompressing a little bit over the whole politics and election, but starting Monday, January 4th, we need to get going again. It's very important that we get involved in keeping up with the calendar, keeping up with these conference calls, keeping up with getting out in front of people, because there are elections in 2021, and all these Pennsylvania state representatives are up for election in 2022. So we need to continue working on those things. We also will have on Monday, January 18th, this will be upcoming, and this will be Monday, January 18th at 7 p.m. It's headline Fitz Watch, and Fitz Watch is our page that we keep on bucksPAC. At Fitz Watch, we are going to invite Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick to be on air with the author of Fitz Watch, and that would be Dr. David Arfini. And David will join us on January 18th, and he will be happy to discuss, describe, and defend Fitz Watch. Dr. David Arfini, as an author of Fitz Watch, he's been involved in politics here in Bucks County since 2016 with the President Trump election. He also was the Chief Information Officer when it came to the Dean Mallett campaign and the Andy Meehan campaigns in 2018 and 2020. He is ready to describe, discuss, and defend everything he puts into Fitz Watch. It is a read that will just knock your socks off sometimes when you see what Brian Fitzpatrick has been up to since he's been elected into this congressional seat in 2016. So we will be inviting Brian Fitzpatrick to defend himself on this also. So we will see if he will attend January 18th, 2021.
He won't do it. He won't even.
Doubtful.
He was contacted by the Washington Post and asked if he would support President Trump and the election after the election in his court case, and 200 and I think it was 200 and something Republicans said yes, including senators.
Yes.
But there was like 25 or 26 that said that they wouldn't. And I looked up Brian Fitzpatrick's name on the list, and his office didn't even comment. He declined to answer any questions regarding President Trump or a recount, an audit, and so on.
Jimmy, this is Chris, and I
was in the Washington Post.
And yes, I did see where 222 Republicans said they would back the Republican president. And, of course, once again, Brian Fitzpatrick did not make the cut.
He wasn't one of them.
He's on that list of 26 who stay quiet or flat out attack our president, our Republican president. And it's people like him, people like the Lincoln Project, people, the Never Trumpers, who after 4 years of very honorable term that President Trump has served, they still could not come around to voting for a Republican, and they voted for a Democrat. And it's up to a lot of these people to convince us that they did not vote for Joe Biden, because I believe a lot of them did. It's a secret ballot, but I just find it very hard to believe that any Republican can vote for any Democrat in this day and age. It's something you probably could have done back in JFK times with John F. Kennedy, but after Lyndon Johnson and after the direction that the Democratic Party has gone over the last 50 years, there is no reason for any person who calls himself a Republican to vote for a Democrat.
Especially Biden.
and especially Biden. So we do appreciate you being on the phone call tonight, everybody. Jimmy, Michelle, and
thank you.
Barbara. Fran had to jump off to try to save our Christmas tree. so we do appreciate everybody being on. bucksPAC, you can easily go onto the site, hit the donate button, and that will take you to a secure site to make any donations. We do love mail. We do have a mailbox. We do have to pay for that mailbox. So please remember, if you're going to send a check to bucksPAC, make your check out to bucksPAC. Mail it to bucksPAC, and it's P.O. Box 7067 in beautiful downtown Hendale, PA, 19047. And you can find all this information right on our bucksPAC.com website. But every donation helps out a lot to keep our website going and to keep the information coming in. And we do appreciate all the information everybody's provided tonight, from Jimmy to Barb to Michelle, and Fran's information before her tree got knocked over. And so that pretty much wraps up what we wanted to discuss tonight on tonight's conference. We discussed tonight the infamy of this election and of this day. We still don't know the election results, and we might hear something on December 14th is when they need to make some moves.
Yes.
But hopefully we'll hear stuff from the Supreme Court beforehand. And the fact that our Pennsylvania state representatives are failing the people, we need to stay on top of that. Feel free to contact me.
Pay attention to the hearing. Pay attention to the hearing tomorrow. It should be on C-SPAN.
9 o'clock.
The Supreme Court.
It should be at 9 Alito. Yeah, it should be at 9 o'clock. But I wanted to know, when are the people that just got voted in, like Shelby Labs? When do they take office? Is that the 6th of January or something? When do they start their session, or do they start the 20th also?
No, Jimmy probably knows the exact date, but it is the first week.
The first week in January.
The first week, right after New Year's. Okay, so the first day back to work, like the 2nd or something.
Well, the 2nd is a Saturday, I believe. So
I believe it's the first.
It
should be the first Monday.
Okay.
Monday
Right,
in January.
Yeah,
Okay.
So Monday the 4th
Right.
is, January 4th is Monday because that's one of our conference call nights. They probably will do something January 5th, because they tend not to work on Monday or Fridays. so probably Tuesday,
God
Wednesday, or
forbid.
Thursday of that week.
All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I go to work.
Everybody have a good night.
Okay,
Well,
good night.
thank you very much, everybody,
Good
joining
night.
us. And
Good night.
feel free to check out our website. So thank you very much. And
Okay.
hopefully we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. That's Christmas week.
All right.
And
Thank
when will we
you.
know if,
Good night.
and when will we know who our president will be?
It kind of officially needs to be December 14th, but this could go longer than that. So Michelle will try to keep posted, and as soon as anything happens, we do post some relevant stories on bucksPAC, so feel free to go onto that site daily, and you can see the latest news.
Okay.
So with that, I appreciate everybody being on the call tonight, and if you don't mind, I'll close with a prayer. Lord, we are so thankful that we have technology such as this, that we can stay in touch with people. We can reach out across the whole county, and we can reach out to each and every person here who wishes to join us, and we appreciate the people that joined us tonight. We pray for everybody's well-being during these times of pandemic, and that we do stay healthy during even the flu and cold season as we enter into that. Please be careful, be healthy, and we pray for all this through Jesus Christ our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Good night.
Good night, everybody.